Hello everyone, welcome back. In previous lecture, we have created user registration form, right? And also we have inserted data successfully. So how many users we have created? So let me check in database. So I think we have created the three users in database, right? So now we are going to do user already exists error message. So for example, we have three users we have created. So email id java jw dot at rasul at gmail.com. So another user sachin at gmail.com, and third one virat at gmail.com. So what will happen if I create same user id again? So let me create any one of the user id, and I want to create same user ID again. We'll see what will happen. Virat Kohli. So I'm going to insert same user ID again. I'm going to register same user ID. So we should not allow to register same user email ID, right? So submit. See, yeah, server is returning error. So what is that error? Duplicate entry virat at gmail.com. Why it is throwing duplicate entry? Since we have declared user entity. If you go to user entity class, so we have specified email property as a unique, right? Unique is equal true. So since we declared unique is equal true, so duplicate email will not allow in database. So that is the meaning of unique is equal true. So if you make it as a unique is equal to false, then our database will allow we can will allow duplicate email id. So if you specify unique is equal true, will not allow duplicate email id. So now throwing exception is not good for health, right? So end user doesn't know what is this error, white label error message. So end user trying to create register with same user id again. So we have to show message like user already exists, right? So let's handle that error message. How we can handle? So let me write it now. So for that we have to create, so let me stop the server first and go back to user registration forms. So whenever we are trying to create same user id, so user should not create, right? We have to show message. So for that, so let me go to controller. So let me start from here. So for that we have to do validation. When we have to do validation? While saving the user. So before saving the user, we have to perform validation, email validation. We can do in two ways actually. So how we can do that? So it's already throwing exception, right? Server is throwing exception. That exception we can catch in service layer, in business logic. We can catch that exception in business layer, and then in catch block we can write custom user defined exception like user already exists. So user already exists, custom user defined exception class we can create, and then we can show user already exists message. And another way how we can do that? So we can execute we can write a method to find email. So if already email exists, then we have to check whether email is present or not from the database. If it is present, then we have to show end user as a user already exists. So let me do it second approach. So user defined exception class will do it later. So for the time being, we'll create one method to identify whether user present in database or not. So for that, let me go to from where we need to write. So go to user controller, and before saving method we have to validate. How we can validate? So let me write the business logic. So let me write the logic to display user already exist. So copy user service here, user service dot find by user email. So find by user email or find by email. So there is no method, we haven't created, right? So what we can do, so go to your user interface, so create one method, and that method name will be find by email. So find by email, or we can do like find by user by email. So let me give find by user email is enough. So now here we need to pass argument as email, right? String email, that's it. So after that, so this method should return some value, right? So we can check whether user exists or not. So user exists or not, to check for that we should take return type as a boolean. We are just checking the user present or not, right? So that's the reason I'm taking boolean return type. So this method we have to override into our business layers, nothing but service impl, user service impl. So let me add unimplemented method. So the moment we add abstract method in interface, we must override into subclass, right? So let me add unimplemented method. So added now, right? So from here, now user jpa repository. So how we can user jpa repository is having only save method, update method, and find by id methods, right? So we have to write our user defined method in user repository. How you can write, so go to your repository, and let's write. So what is the property of entity? Go to your entity, we have to check. So if you go to user jpa repository and go to jpa repositories, here you can see there is a set of methods, right? Find by user id, and you see find by id or find one. See find by id is there, find all is there, and find by id also is there, right? So same way we can write another method like find by email. So go to your entity, user entity. So user entity is having email, so we can write find by email method. So hibernate will recognize that method since that property is available in user entity, right? So now write a method called find by email. So make sure the property which we have taken in entity class, so we have to take same property find by email, camel case letter. Find by e should be capital, so otherwise this method will not work. Okay, so now go to GeoJP repository, find by email, e should be capital letter. Fine. So whenever you are writing some method, you should follow coding standards. So method name should be always follow camel case, nothing but first letter should start with a small letter, and in middle words will start with capital letters. Okay, so find by email. So find by email, what we need to pass it here, string email, that's it. So we are going to return, so this will always return user entity. So since it is a user jpa repository, this will return user entity. So now user entity find by email, that's it. Now we just need to call this method in business layer. Go to user service impl and remove this, not needed. So user service, sorry, user jpa repository dot find by email, right? So we just need to pass email. So what this method will return, this method will return user entity. entity is equal. So now we have to check whether this user entity is null or not. So if user is present, then user object will be there. If email was not present, then user entity always will come null. Right. So now check if user entity null not equal to, or user entity not equal to null. So user entity not equal to null in the sense, so user is already exist. So then we can return boolean dot true. Always use constants, guys. Some people will write directly return true like this, true. So this is not best practice. Okay, so defining constants. Why? Because every time memory allocation will be happen, right? So that's the reason always use constants. Boolean dot, there is a property called true. So if user is not equal to null, then user is present, so true. Then else, so user is having null, then we have to return false. Boolean dot false. That's it. This is not needed. Remove it. So now find by email method will return boolean value. If user, it will fetch find by email and we will get the user entity object. So if user entity is not equal to null, then user already exists, so boolean is equal true. If user entity is null, then user will not be available, so boolean false. So we have to call this method in controller. We can call directly here also, guys. We can call here also, so based on your requirement you can do. So we can call here also, we can write logic and we can return here save user method as a boolean. So we can handle it in this method as well as we can write separate method also. Better use better always create individual method, because in a real time environment will have a number of modules, right? Wherever you need, you can just directly use find by email method. So, okay, so now we need to call this method in controller. Go to your user controller. So user controller now will have find by email. So pass email from where it will come, from user dto. Just pass user dto dot get email. That's it. So this method will return boolean value. Boolean, you variable name as a user exists, or user exists is equal user service dot find by email. So that's it. Now we just need to check if condition user exists, then we have to set some message, right? So earlier we are showing successful message, right? So now we have to show error message as well. So let me copy this and paste it here. We have to show error message, right? So take key value as a error message, and then we have to show message like user already exists, right? Now copy the now if the user is present, and then error message is going to set as a user already exists. So then in that case what will happen, we should not execute this method. So what we have to do, we have to keep it that in else block, control x, and then write it in else block. If user present, show error message. If user is not present, and go and persist the user in database. That's it. Very easy, guys. So now we have to display this error message in JSP, right? So go to our JSP, and earlier we are displaying success message, right? So let me copy same div and paste it here and copy that key value, so error message, and then paste it here. That's it. So here, so earlier we are directly displaying success message, right? So if a user not saved successfully, what will happen? This div always will be created with empty message. So we have to handle, if message is not empty, then only display the message. So that is the best practice. How we can check whether message is not empty? So we have a expression, we have created tag library, right? There is a core tag library prefix c, right? With prefix c we can check whether this particular message is having value or not. So then just write c colon if test is equal to, that's it. So write one if condition in JSP, c colon if test is equal to, we have to write the condition. So how to write the condition? Expression and then message, this message, copy this message, and we have to check not empty. How we can check? There is a keyword nothing but not empty, that's it. Then only display the message along with the div. Control X and Control V, that's it. So whenever there is a message value present, then only this div is going to display in our JSP page. Similarly, error message also we have to handle in same way. Copy this and paste it here and end the div tag, sorry, c colon if tag, and then copy error message here. That's it. Here what we are doing, here we are checking if error message is not empty, then only display error message, and here if success message is not empty, and then display the success message. So now let me start the server. So let me run in debug mode so that you can easily understand. I will debug and so better always run in debug mode, man, guys. So it should be good habit for developer. Better always start in debug mode, so that if anything is not working, then we can debug our code, right? So this is Eclipse issue. You no need to bother about it. Just close this. Just execute. Click on execute button and close this. That's it. So now go to your user controller and keep how we can debug. So this is the business logic we have written, right? So I am going to debug this. Keep breakpoint here. In this particular line I have mentioned the breakpoint, or directly you can keep in if condition. So remove here, and I just want to debug here itself. I don't want to go and check debug in service layer. So if any exception comes, then we can debug inside the service layer. So let me keep as of now debug in if statement. So now let me clear the console. Let me check how many users we have. 3 users. So I want to create Virat Kohli again. Copy and go to our web page / user registration form. So yeah, user registration form displayed successfully. So you may have some doubt, sir, every time I need to call user registration form every time to display user registration? No. So without giving user registration form URI, so we can display user registration form by default. How we can do that? So actually what is happening, if you click enter, it will throw error message. So why? Because we have to provide the URI, so user register form, then only this JSP can be displayed. Because in our JSP we have declared user registration form URI to display user registration form, right? So that's the reason we have to provide always user registration form in the URL. So without giving this also we can display user registration by default. How we can do that? So we just need to remove this. and give slash. So what will happen? Any controller which is having URL name slash nothing but, so by default whenever we are executing our Spring Boot application, and then whenever we are accessing localhost colon 8080, then it by default this method is being executed. Slash is nothing but by default Spring Boot will be executed this method by default. So we no need to provide user registration form URI. Till here we just need to give in browser. Copy this URI and then go to browser, remove and click enter. See, now user registration form is displayed successfully. So always we no need to give user registration form. By default localhost colon 80, if you click on enter, so user registration form will be displayed. So this is how we can display default web page in our Spring Boot application. Okay, so now let me create the user who is already exist in database. So virat@gmail.com, I want to create it again. So let's see what will happen. Virat, this can we can give Kohli, and email should be I have to give virat@gmail.com. So this guy is already available in database. Go to database check. So go to open SQL. You can see Virat Kohli at gmail.com already present. So this data should not insert in database. So now we have to show message like user already exists. So now let me give password same as. So now click on submit button. See breakpoint came. Eclipse is blinking, right? So you can see breakpoint came into our controller. See what is the value came user exit. See true. So what is the meaning of that? User already exists in database. Whatever business logic which we have written in service layer, it is working perfectly. So it is returned true value since user is present in database. Go to user controller. So it will go and execute this map dot put statement, and this user already exists value will be stored in error message key. So now just press F8, so directly control will come here. Control will not go to else block, right? Function F8. See, now user registration form is going to display. So now I am executing application. So click on run button, and so now go to your browser. See user already exists. So you can go to in database, just refresh the database, it is not inserted again, right? So this is how we can handle user already exists in database. So showing green color will be not good, so we have to show error messages as a red color, right? Let me give instead of green, I will give red color for error message, red. Okay, so now let me try creating Sachin Tendulkar again. We'll see what will happen. So Sachin, first name Sachin and second name Tendulkar, and email will be Sachin at gmail.com, who is already existing in database. So let me give password same as is, or you can type anything, any password you can give. So now click on submit button. I don't want to debug now because already our business logic is working, right? So I want to remove the breakpoint or disable the breakpoint. How we can disable the breakpoint? We can remove, or we can click on here. You can see left hand side there is a skip all breakpoints. Click on again. If you click on again, our breakpoint will be skipped. Okay, if you again click, so your debug will run again. So let me disable breakpoints. Okay, so now go to our browser. Now I am trying to insert Sachin Tendulkar again. So already Sachin Tendulkar is available in database, so we have to show user already exists. Let me click on submit button. See, successfully displayed user already exists in red color. So this is how we can display user already exists in database. Okay guys, so who are all watching newly, you can subscribe my channel and watch all the videos. So you can learn Spring Boot, Angular JS and microservices, RESTful web services, SOAP web services and Mojito framework, how to write JUnit test cases and Spring security and all rest other concepts you are going to learn in this channel. So what is that channel? Let me write it here. Here you can write uh, Java Cafeteria. You can search Java Cafeteria also, guys. So go to youtube.com. If you go to why it's came like this, so you can go to type YouTube, just type uh, youtube.com, youtube.com, and there you can go to YouTube and you can search Java Cafeteria, Java Cafeteria, and search it. That's it. So you can find my channel and you can open that and you can subscribe, or else there is another way. So just select at the rate after youtube.com at the rate Rasul hyphen Sheikh slash playlists. That's it. Click on enter. So you can go to this channel and you can click on subscribe button and you can subscribe. Okay, thank you guys, thanks for watching. We will catch you in next lecture. Okay.